too bad. So without further ado, let's hop into the patch breakdown. Teamfight Tactics patch 9.23. Big news! This patch is a return to the ranked queue. God, yes. Oh. Thank God, yes.
That's right.
Nailed it. With the return of the rank queue on a balanced front, we made 100 small changes, fixed some game-altering bugs. The method to our madness focuses on shifting power into Tier 2 and Tier 3 3-star champions while pulling some away from stronger Tier 1 champions. Okay, so it's not too hard to 3-star one Tier 3 unit, assuming nobody else is going for it. If other people are going for it, it gets much harder. It was pretty much guaranteed to 3-star one cost unit, and there was only a couple times where Predator was a pain to 3-star for me as a 2-cost unit. That was Skarner and Rek'Sai. I don't know why that is. It's beyond me. You'd expect it to be easier, especially when nobody else is running Predators. But alas, here we are. We are glad we took the extra patch to get all the new set jitters out. But overall, we're excited for the State of the Rise of the Elements. There's multiple paths to victory. Each game plays out differently, so good luck on your climb. Take this portal if you're looking for League of Legends patch notes. We are not. True damage, Little Legends. All right, 48 seconds. Let's see what they look like. Is he going to get transformed? Oh, she's kind of cute. Oh, she got 2 skins. First skin was cuter. Where's this Kiana looking chick? Oh, look at that gun. What is that, Senna? Senna the Little Legend? If she has that gun, I might want to try and pick up one of those. That thing's cute. Cute. All right, Series 5. Kiki and Osea and Melisma. Whatever. All right, on to the actual game. Glacial stun chance. 20%, 40%, 60%. Changed, nerfed to 20%, 35%, 50%. So 2 glacial, unchanged. 4 glacial, 5% nerf. But a 5% nerf on 40 is, what, like a 16% nerf? Let's break out that calculator here real quick, see what the actual numbers say. So it is a 5% change, so we take 5% and divide it by how many 1% go into that, which is 0.4. So it's a 12% nerf. So Glacial is 12% less effective at stunning people on rank 2, and 6 goes, or 0.6 goes into 10 about the same amount of time. So it's 10 divided by 0.6. 16% nerf on the 60 to 50%. I think that's pretty healthy. I think gunning permastun with Glacial is pretty frustrating. So anything that kind of mitigates that frustration is going to be beneficial to the game. You still want Glacial to be reliable. Like you still want those high roll moments where you have 4 Glacial and you do get that permastun off, but it's going to be much less consistent. And the less consistency means that if you play around it with something like Quicksilver or something like a frontliner, a Melfight or something like that, then that's going to be better. This is also like an nerf to Olaf, because Olaf was the person who used this best. He had the splash with the Berserker, and he had the immune to stun. However, I hope they fix this bug. Olaf, with his ult up, could get Glacial stunned, which is one of the most frustrating things ever, because he's supposed to be immune to CC. If he's getting Glacial stun, that's a little bit frustrating. So this is a healthy nerf. I think that was good. We are going to see a much less 6 Glacial. Probably not any less 4 Glacial, though. 6 Glacial, you really have to go out of your way with like the Ezreal to do it, or get 2 spats. And if you don't have a Runaan's anyway, there's so few people with AoE attack damage. It would be Zerkers, right? So unless you're stacking like a Jax, he's the only other Zerker that would really go Glacial, right? So Volibear, Olaf, Jax as the 3 Glacials, and then something ranged like Ezreal, Twitch with a Runaan's or something like that. It's very item specific, so we're going to see a little bit of it, but much less, which I think is healthy. 6 glacial isn't, I don't think, a great thing. Moving on to light. The total heal amount is now based on the dying champion's health rather than those receiving the heal. So what this means is that you don't get that 25% heal. You get 25% of the dying unit's health healed, which is really good. I think this balances light just flat out, right? So the Vanes no longer can take the tier 1 Jacks or the 1-star Jacks or the 1-star Aatrox, which are kind of useless, or Aatrox especially, such a useless unit. And when he dies, you're healing Vane for up to 500 health sometimes, right? If 2k health, if you're stacking items, or if it's a 3-star Vane that you hyper-rolled, or Nasus, right? Nasus easy has 2k health when he's 3-starred, and you're not getting that full heal back off of units you haven't invested in. You're just getting a percent of the dying unit's health. So when the Nasus dies, everybody gets healed up to top. So you're going to have a priority of frontlining the tankier units rather than throwing the Aatrox up, throwing the Jacks up, just saying, okay, you're a low-cost unit, just die to give me the attack speed, just die to give me the health back. That being said, the Yorick Ghouls, another thing that Light was benefiting off of, also very good here. You're no longer just creating a ton of things that just feed into the unit. You're basing the heal off of Yorick's star rating, because the higher star cost, the higher star Yorick is, the higher health his minions have. So if you get a 3-star Yorick, I've never seen a 3-star Yorick. That would be scary, 3-star Yorick. But if you get a 3-star Yorick, a lot of good things. You're stacking that light. You're doing really good. Just a 2-star Yorick, though, it's still going to heal, still going to gain attack speed, but it's going to be hugely mitigated by the fact that the Yorick Ghouls have such a small amount of health. Ocean, mana per second, 1530-50 to 1535-60. Interesting. This is ocean mana, per second. Per second. Is that right? 15 per second, 30 per second, 50 per second, to 60 per second. 60 per second, mind you, 60 per second is enough for Viger to ult every second. This is absolutely crazy. I see why Ocean Mage is like a little bit OP on the current PBE, because this is just nutty. This feels overtuned as fuck. You can make any champion pretty much a mana battery with this and Seraphs. 1 Seraphs and 6 Ocean just turns whatever unit you want into a mana battery to just keep firing it off, keep firing it off. That's absolutely crazy. I think this is going to be the biggest thing around here. We're going to make a note of this. Ocean is insane at the moment. Let's take our own notes here. Let's not do it here. Let's do it on the let's pop it on here. New one, patch 9.23. Glacial. Nerfed. Let's do it like this though. Nerfs. Buffs. Glacial. 15% nerf. This is Ocean. Insane buffed. I expect to see a lot of Ocean and a lot of contested units on the Ocean board. That's absolutely crazy. Light, slight nerf. Light, slight nerf. Tuned. Shadow bonus. 50-100% to 45-80%. Interesting. I did a lot of math on this off of Riot Mort Dog's Twitter post. I wanted to do a little math on what is actually better. And nerfed Shadow is it does nerf the Shadow, right? But if you notice, the tier 1 Malzahar and the tier 1 Vigar with 2 Shadow and with 4 Shadow are actually in line with the other numbers. And in general, we're only talking about with no Shadow, this is the percent nerf. This doesn't actually matter. None of the units are nerfed individually. It's just when you group them together. So this doesn't nerf summoners at all. Doesn't nerf Zerkers at all. Doesn't nerf 6 mages at all. The only thing it nerfs is splashing in the splashing in to Shadow, which you're still going to do anyway, because 45% damage bonus for the first 5 seconds of the game are still really strong, especially because people are going to be running Ocean now. And Ocean, Vigar, Splash in a Malzahar or something like that, it's just so good. It's so good. I'll take the 45% damage bonus because you're probably killing someone in that first ult anyway. 85%, I think this is going to be a little bit discouraged. I think this is going to bring in that mid-game in line a little bit better because mid-game Shadows are a little bit out of control right now. You could just splash. You can have like 0 synergies and just 4 Shadow and do kind of insane damage with like Scion hitting AoE, Vigar ult instantly one-shotting people, Malzahar just creating units and units. Again, especially with Ocean buff, this is going to be strong. So I'm happy this is brought into line a little bit better. Shadow, 16% nerf or so. Right, because this is, where's my calculator? This is 5, because 50 to 45 is 5 divided by 0.5, which is 1% of 50 is 10% nerf, and then 100 to 85 is a 15% nerf. So that's not crazy. Yeah, 5 is 10% of 50. That makes sense, because 5 times 10 is 50. Right? All right, on to Warden bonus armor. 125, 275, 450, 2, 150, 300, and 450. So 450, 6 Warden's unchanged. I don't think 6 Warden was that good, and I don't think it's going to stay that good. I've been told that Saint Vicious was running, Saint was running like 6 Warden hyper carry Braum with Morellos, like Morellos on Nami or something with Mystic, and he was finding success with it, but that seems a little nutty. That seems like a counter comp to like a current meta. And with Ocean being so strong, I don't expect Warden to be up there. I expect Mystic to be up there. I expect people to actually run for Mystic. I don't know where I am MMR wise, but I don't think I've ever seen somebody tech in for Mystic, which I think you can do in certain comps, like maybe Assassin Mystic with Kha'Zix, or even like Yi with Blade Master Yi with Janna Cloud, but Yi is an assassin. Just give him an assassin spatula or something like that. That would be a really interesting comp. I might actually build that comp in a set builder after this game. But I don't see this being that good with how good Ocean is. Like, this buff is good. Don't get me wrong. 125 to 150. 25 of... So this is 25 divided by 1.25. So this is 25 divided by 1.25, which is 20% buff. And then 25 divided by 2.75. 25% buff and then 9% buff. So this I don't think this is going to change when we have to Warden in. What this does actually do, stupidly and funnily enough, is this buffs Ocean more, because we have innately 2 Ocean Wardens. We have Thresh and Nautilus. So if you are running 6 Ocean, you just have this. You just already have that. You just have this 150 increased thing. So not only did we buff Ocean, but we also buffed Warden, which you're guaranteed when you run Ocean, which is a little bit nutty to me. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. We'll add this to the sheet though. Under buff, Warden, 10% or so. It's actually higher, right? 15% or so. 50%. Or so. Also buffs Ocean because of not Thresh. 3-star ability scaling. We want to make sure that the higher cost 3-star champions are an exciting are exciting power. Oh, Jesus. We want to make sure that higher cost 3-star champions are an exciting power up worth the chase of getting them. This is already true for 80 HP scaling champs and tier 1 champions, but much less true for others. So we're buffing the 3-star abilities for some tier 2 and tier 3 champions. This should be interesting. So Jax, same, 350, 100 damage buff on Jax. Okay. I don't think that's that great. Ideally, Jax is hitting 2 units already. This makes Light a little bit stronger. But without buffing his health and other units like that, it's not. I don't think this is game breaking. LeBlanc 2 450 700, 200 450 800, 100 extra damage. This is something that can double cast, so this makes mages a little bit stronger. 2 3 star damage increase, all by 100. Jax, LeBlanc. Right, so 800. So this is casting twice sometimes, which makes mages stronger. But we also got a Syndra buff. And, oh my god. These aren't too hard to 3-star. Syndra and Thresh aren't too hard to 3-star. 550 to 600 isn't that impressive, but 400. Oh. 400. Is that what his ult? Is that what it is? 400? Huh. 550 to 600 isn't that insane. So I don't expect to see a lot of 3-star Threshers, but 525 to 600, again, something you can double cast here. Double cast, double cast. That makes it so much more powerful. Think about, because Jax doing this once isn't too bad. 450, I got hit with 100 more damage. But LeBlanc casting twice, now I got hit with 200 more damage, right? And it scales with AP, so maybe it's up to like 300 more damage. Actually, just throw a Rabadon's on for a 75% increase, right? Which is 350 more damage. And that gets a little bit nutty. That's a little crazy. Nico damage buff by only 50. That's not too bad. I expect these to be about as strong. This is something. These are both woodland druids, right? And since both woodland druids got buffed, this buffs woodland. This buffs woodland because you could duplicate these units. So not only can we double cast with mages with LeBlanc, we can also duplicate LeBlanc and have both of them double cast. So I expect a pretty this puts even more priority and longevity into 3-starring hyper rolling your woodland units, which is a little bit crazy. Nico, Syndra is increased by 75. Thresh, kind of negligible. And Volibear by 150. Interesting. I haven't seen a lot of 3-star Volibears, but there's some interesting merit to that. Because Volibear, never mind. What I was going to say is because Volibear's ult resets if it kills something, but that's not true. If you buff Volibear's damage so that he does damage greater than 35% of their health, you don't get the reset on it. You don't actually get the reset because the wording on his ult is if the unit is below 35% health, it kills them and he gets the reset. But if he does damage in excess, say he does 50% of a unit's health, which 850 is like more than most tier 2-star mages. If you one-shot someone with the ult, their health was greater than 35%, so you don't get the reset. It's actually unfortunate because it would be really cool to make a hyper carry Volibear damage because his bite is actually like 2 to 3 hexes space. Volibear's attacks are not that long, but if he has his spell up, he can cast his spell like across 3 hexes, which is a little bit crazy because you wouldn't expect that. You'd expect it to be in line with his melee damage, which is melee 1 hex. All right, now we're on an Aatrox. Same 250 increase, up to 1,000 damage at 3-star. This actually makes him better. He usually gets 1 cast off, and the 1 cast isn't that impressive. But one thing he has going for him is that people think he's so bad, it's pretty easy to 3-star him. You can pretty consistently 3-star this dude. The reason being is that nobody else is going for him. Only Blade Masters and Light really pick him up, and they don't care if he gets big. They're settled at a 2-star, and once they get a 2-star, they just ignore them. And even then, you don't really push for a 2-star. You just, like, if you have extra gold and it won't cost you economy, you'll pick him up along the way. This might put more priority on him, especially might look people to 3-star, like, Mage Hat him and see if we can get some like, insane plays off of this 1,000 damage. Because this is significantly more than that, right? So if you heal for 30% of this, you're healing for 300 damage, whereas opposed to healing for 30% of this, you're only healing for, 200? It's a whole 100 damage healing if I'm just thinking of straight Gunblade, right? Ezreal, 200 damage increase on his Q. this seems really good. I would expect to see Ezreal's with Seraphs in the next patch. Like two or four glacial Ezreals with Seraphs, because if he's mana battering, his mana's like 40, right? So you could just run Ocean, right? You could just run 4 Ocean and have an Ezreal in. Where is this per second? You just have 4 Ocean and have an Ezreal in and have him casting almost every second. 1 auto, 1 tick, boom. 1 auto, 1 tick, boom. Which is absolutely crazy. I expect Ezreal to be like pretty dominant this patch. Kindred buffed with 3-star? Okay, if you could find it, that's insane. Kindred's a pretty hard unit to 3-star because of her how good she is. She fits in Inferno comps, she fits in Ranger comps, she fits in Shadow comps, especially with the prevalency of 4 Shadow in the mid game. That means a lot of people are picking her up for their 2 Ranger with Vayne, for their 3 Inferno with like Zyra Diana, or Varus Diana even, or Varus Zyra. I think Diana got nerfed in this patch, so we're going to see less of her. But Varus Zyra Kindred just is a 3 Inferno that's super, super solid. A damage output is very high, especially with the 2 Ranger buff. The cheapness of it all, there's a lot of pluses to that. So if you can find it, absolutely insane. It's down here. If you could find it, absolutely insane. 100% worth stacking with a Seraphs with some ranged RFC, because there is no range on her ult. It's just however far away the unit is. So super good. I expect no real changes from her. With the Shadow nerf a little bit, there's a little bit of priority pulled off of her. But with the Ezreal buff, I expect her to be hand in hand with the Rangers, and Rangers to just be more popular a little bit. I'm uncomfortable pushing that narrative because of how good I think Ocean's going to be and how bad Rangers do against Ocean, because the Ocean mage is just AoE damage, right? Syndra balls. Who are the Ocean loans? Syndra balls coming down, Nami ult coming across. A lot of AoE with the folks, especially if you're double casting with mage or something like that. So we'll see how good Rangers are. This is definitely definitely an incentive to get that tier 3 Kindred. I don't expect to see a ton of it, not because it's bad, but because people will be competing for it. Nautilus 345 to 346, 1 extra second. I'm not sure this is a huge difference. If you're stunned for 5 seconds, I don't know. We'll have to see the rest of the notes, because if the battles are progressing at the speed that they currently do, being stunned for 5 seconds is the same really as being stunned for 6 seconds, because you are dead within 5 seconds, right? If Nott's getting his ult off, unless he's stacked, right? Unless he's stacked, then maybe a fight lasts at most 10 seconds. So if he ults right away, maybe then you have an extra 5 seconds for a dude to play instead of an extra 4 seconds. But if the fights are going as fast as they're going currently on live, then this is kind of unimportant, because being stunned for 5 seconds and being stunned for 6 seconds is the same as saying, stun this unit for the rest of the round. Win or lose, it's really stun the unit for the rest of the round. And in that case, it doesn't matter, right? That's like if 3-star Vygar, did 600 more damage to 2-star units. You're like, okay, you're already one-shotting him. If that counted for like over healing or something like that, then maybe. But for the most part, it's just like it's excessive in a way that isn't beneficial to this champion. So no real changes in Nautilus. However, with the Ocean change, he's still going to be a good unit. With the Warden change, he's doubly a good unit. So we'll see. I think. Let me just confirm. Ocean's the same at level 2. Yeah, 15 and 15. Then up by 5 and then up by 10. So yeah, pretty good there. Nautilus damage increased by 100. Like I said, I don't think that's too impactful. It's nice that he hits the farthest unit away. You might see a little bit more tech in trying to get the Nautilus to position in a way that hits like a hyper carry, that hits that 3-star Kindred, 3-star Ezreal and stuff. And you might see people putting the units in a different position because of that. Yeah. Playing around Nautilus is interesting. I would like to see that more. In the same way, playing around Scion is interesting in moving your not front line, because the front line can usually take it, but the people right behind the front line. So your Rangers and stuff like that, because you don't want them to get the splash damage from Scion. Scion, this is absolutely nutty. 600 to 800, 200 damage increase. And Scion's not too hard to 3-star. Scion's one of those units that fits in a lot of comps, fits in Zerkers, fits in Shadows, fits as a 2-cost Shadow Tech in like a Poison Summoner comp even. Or even like a Blade Master, even like the Blade Master comp, right? You can run because you got Master Yi Scion for Shadow, with like Yi Janna for Blade Master Cloud, Sivir, Renekton for Desert, more Blade Master with the Blade Master item on Scion or something like that. Even with the nerf, the nerf to Shadow, he's got enough mana that he probably gets this off inside the Shadow time at the start of the game. I don't expect people to stack Scion with damage. I don't expect anybody trying to go with like a one-shot Scion build with like AP double slam or something like that, but it makes it more viable. This 200 damage increase on what already is like a 2-second stun, very good. This puts way more priority on Scion. On the 3-star Scion. It makes him much scarier, and makes him a more viable unit in the Zerker fights, because before it was kind of only Olaf dealing the damage, and then you had Mundo in for like poison tech, and then everybody else was just kind of doing splash damage, hoping to get like a little bit off. This CC is getting a little bit off, but 800 damage is enough to cut through about half the health of most 2-star units, and about a third of the health of most 3-star units. So very good. Scion already a good unit, so buffing his damage on the 3-star, like I said, higher priority. I expect to see more of them. General champion balance. All right. Ivory Shield, I expect a nerf 246 to 355. I don't think this makes him bad, especially because the 1-star is the same, so that's good. The 2-star is a 50 50 divided by 4. So 50 divided by 4 is a 12% nerf. And the 3-star is 100% of 100 divided by 6 is like a 20% nerf, something like that. A little bit less, 18% nerf, we'll say. Not too bad. I think early game this was oppressive, and Woodlands are already oppressive early game. They don't need to double down on the oppression. So this I think is going to be a little bit better. Maokai passive heal, I expect this to be a little bit of a nerf as well. 300 to 175, 250. Yeah. So with the buff to the tier 3 Woodlands, LeBlanc, Nico, and then Syndra for Mage, but Syndra again not really Woodland, but LeBlanc Nico changes. They have to nerf Woodland Druid in some way, so they're deciding to go through here. Nasa's ability damage, this might go up. Let me see. Whoa! What? 35 to 50. I assume that's per tick. That is a big buff. That's 15. Nasus 1 getting a little nutty. But then Nasus 2 is the same, and then Nasus 3 is actually a nerf. Weird moving that health around. Bonus health 246 to 250, 400, 550. Interesting. So they made 1-star Nasus better. Huh. I have no idea why that is, what the incentive for this is. It's easy enough to 2-star him anyway. People see him all the time. Plus, with Light now, having a 1-cost Nasus just get in to buff his health is, like, viable. So, I'm unsure. Yeah. I'm unsure of the impact of this. I really can't assess this that much. Talia mana 5085 to 5080. So her max mana got nerfed by 5, which means she casts more often. Oh! Ooh! With the stun duration going up by 0.5 seconds. Now, 0.5 seconds doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a 30% increase in stun duration. And 30%, think of something. If you're saying somebody is stunned 30% longer, that's pretty crazy. Also, this is worth noting that the stun does not scale with levels. So a 2-star Talia stuns as often. No, not as often because she gains less mana per auto attack, but she stuns as long as a 1-star and a 3-star Talia. So that's interesting. Vein damage 8, 12, 16 to 9 buff, 12, same 15 nerf. Interesting. I don't know why they're buffing these 1-cost light units or these 1-star light units. That's, I don't know why that is. Vlad damage and heal amount, I expected nerf here. 200, 350, 500, 200, 325, 450. Yeah. So late game Vlad, you have to put items on him to get the same sort of healing as before. He's still going to be a good unit because Ocean is, I think Ocean's just overtuned right now. Malzahar minion health reduced by 50. He's still going to be good. This in combination with the Shadow debuff is going to make him a little bit of a less priority. But he's still going to be good because he creates the same amount of minions, and the minions deal the same damage, approximately, 12% less damage, because of the Shadow nerf if you have Shadow buff in, and a little bit more if you have 4 Shadow. But the same, he's still going to be good in Summoners. He's still going to be a solid 2-cost unit. People are still going to 2-star him. Less people are going to 3-star him, I think, with the priority of like these units now as like 3-star buffs, but still good. Rek'Sai should get nerfed, right? 200 to 250. Okay. 550 to 550, same. And then 900. Interesting. So the 50 damage buff, which is actually like a 25% increase in damage for tier 1 Rek'Sai, or 1-star Rek'Sai, right? And then same, and then the nerf for the ultimate. I've seen some Rek'Sai carries, so I guess that's why they did it. I don't quite understand that. I love this. I love both of these changes because Skarner's one of my favorite units. So with this nerf to Predators, 3-star Predators a little bit, we have this buff to Predators, and I think this is even more valuable. Skarner ults more often, which means more shield, more attack speed, and he has higher base armor, which just means he takes less damage on top of being a crystal unit, which also means he takes less damage if you throw that crystal on, right? Thresh ability shield 2, 3, 400, 250, 400. This is nutty. 100%, 30% increased shielding on as many units as it can land on, which I think it can land on a 4 hexes. So 400 up to a 1600. 1600 in the ideal situation. Shield for your team. This is insane. You're going to see an insane amount of 2-star Threshes. It's going to, Ocean's just going to dominate the meta. I can't imagine him on Ocean just being bad. It's so, numbers-wise, it's just so strong. So strong. I expect to see some sort of Mystic buff or something down the line. Or maybe Mystic's always been that good and we just haven't seen it explored. There's always that possibility too. Who's to say? But this is worth noting. Skarner, I'm gonna say Skarner buff. Thresh, huge buff. Some other stuff nerfed. Yasuo, slight nerf. Oh, slight buff on the 1 cost. Slight nerf. Oh, on the 3 cost. Interesting. Ooh. Ezreal's nutty. That's every second with 2 Ocean. Or with 4 Ocean. Like 4 Ocean. I want to make a note here of different comps. So, 4 Ocean Ezreal, Hyper Carry. I don't remember the other comp I said. If anybody's watching and remembered the other comp that I wanted to try up here, let me know. Was it Volibear? Kindred? Ranger? Ezreal? Maybe it's Ezreal still. You throw in 2 Glacial or something? Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. Less mana and less cast time, so he can, you're not punished for stacking mana. Some people like Skarner are actually punished a little bit for stacking mana because it takes him a half second to throw up his shield and do his kind of arm wiggle thing, you know? So whenever he casts, he's not dealing damage, he's not stacking his Ginsus, he's not doing other stuff like that. Ezreal is, because his cast time's a quarter of a second, which is much better. That scales with that makes attack speed better on him. It also makes mana better on him, which is that's absolutely crazy. Ashe buff too, 0.7 to 0.8. On paper, not a huge buff innately, but this base scales better with percent attack speed. So that's pretty good. See if we do like an Ash Ezreal Ocean Tarek with one more what am I trying to say? One more we want a Glacial and a Warden. Braum. Okay, so it looks like Ash, Ezreal, 4 Ocean, Tarek, Braum. Which is Rangers, 4 Warden, 4 Ocean, 2 Glacial. Got itchy nose. Okay, cool. And that just seems so good. Like super strong. Yeah, what are the 4 oceans though? Nautilus, Thresh, Nami. I don't know. Oh, or you could just do Lux, but until Lux, it's Vlad Syndra, and when you get the Nami replaces probably the Vlad because you already have a front line. It's weird that I can move it around like that. I didn't know that said. Okay, continuing on. Brand ability damage. I would expect to see buff stay the same, nerf. And we have buff stay the same, nerf. Okay. Brand bounces 4 620, 5 620. One extra bounce of 300 damage. I don't think makes or breaks Brand. It makes him. It rewards you a little bit for putting the items that you want on brand earlier, you know? So before, what you would want to do is have a different mage or a different inferno hold your brand items, and then once you get the brand 2, you sub it out, because brand 2 is doing 450 on 6 units instead of 250 on 4 units. But now it's doing 300 on 5 units, so it might be worth it to just throw the brand in, let him do his thing, because with this extra buff, this is actually 10 units and 600 damage if you're casting twice. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Malphite buff, desperately needed it. I think Malphite was really underpowered, but I also think Wardens were really weak. So with the Warden buff, Malphite might be something that we don't want to sleep on here. Just because he's got a health buff now. His synergy is buffed, and Mountain already is good. And so Mountain with the extra defensive buffs might even be better. Olaf, 15 extra mana. This is going to be hard to get. But with the Ocean buff, you might just be able to tech Olaf into any sort of Ocean comp, or tech Ocean into any sort of comp that needs this kind of casting, you know? Like, all you really need is, like, you could do, like, Braum, Nautilus, Nami, right? Or even Nautilus, Thresh. That's also a way to do it, you know? So, very good. Yorick Ghoul health. Remember, Yorick Ghoul health is affected by light now. They only heal for 1% of the light health, which makes sense that this got nerfed. 150, 250, 350. So nerf across the board. This is actually a bigger hit to light than I think the percent heal was. And the attack slower, but the attack I don't think was as important as this health nerf. So you're healing significantly less. And there, generally, when you're running lights with Yorick, the Yorick ghouls are dying more than the units on the field. I think there are more often, because the game is over, or the round is over, when all of your units die, all of your main units die, meaning that they should have to go through all the ghouls first. So all of these ghouls should be dying before all of your units are dying, which means they're getting healed for less and less as this stuff gets nerfed. So Yorick probably still really strong. He's going to be a frontliner for lights. Him and Nasus, yeah, he's going to be a frontliner for summoner comps, especially because summoners just don't have another frontlining unit, right? Especially running 6 summoner, and with the nerf of Scion, because Scion worked as a frontline for summoner comps because of Malzahar and the shadow buff. But with Scion, with shadow buff getting nerfed, Scion's going to be less valuable in that position. So we'll see. York's still going to be good. Just Light, I think, gets a nerf here, which is probably healthy. Singed nerf. I'm happy to see this. Singed is really, really strong. I guess this is Singed 1. And then Singed 2 and 3 scale relative to this. I think it's an 80% increase for Singed 2. And then 80% increase of Singed 2 for Singed 3. Ability damage, nerf by 50, nerf by 100. Same for 2000. 2000 is insane. Yeah, I guess the game is. I guess their motto is if you get a 3-cost 3-star or 5-star unit, then just you can win. That's fine. And then Tarek with the health buff too makes him even stronger in like the Warden comps and stuff. Crystal too, but Warden especially. I think 6 Warden might be a real comp. Although again, what are you doing with the Ocean Mages? What are you doing with the Ocean Mages? All right, on to the items. Frozen Heart. Frozen Heart attack speed slow. Frozen Heart attack speed slow. Oh, I remember reading a thing about this. This is because of they wanted they wanted consistency across Frozen Fist. So Iceborne Gauntlet got nerfed. So they were like, well, if we're gonna here, Iceborne Gauntlet nerf. And when they nerf Iceborne Gauntlet, they're like, we're going to nerf Frozen Heart too. They mentioned that this might be bad, like not worth buying anymore because of just the stats and stuff it gives. And I'm kind of with them on that. This is probably only going to be good on Kha'Zix if you can't find the other tier for Seraphs, because he sprints around the battlefield so much. And then maybe like Zed if you're on an ocean board or something. I don't know. Guardian Angel can no longer be healed during the resurrection state. Super good. This is a huge Zed nerf because you want to throw GA redemption on Zed, and if this doesn't synergize, like it's a huge nerf to Zed. Zed can't just come back out of nowhere anymore. This also affects other things like Mundo not being able to heal from it. Janna healing people up, but it's not really a nerf to Janna. I mean, it is barely. Like, in very fringe cases, this is a Janna nerf because she's the only other champ that heals, from my knowledge, that can restore health to other units. This is a little bit of a light nerf, too, because you used to want to make Zed a light unit because he could die, heal off the other dying light units, and then be higher health when this happens. I think Zed's still going to be strong. You'll just see Guardian Angel built a little bit less on him. Then Ionic Spark nerfed to 90. This is an interesting way of nerfing Predator, because Ionic Spark is the best on Predator right now. Like, the best Ionic Spark can be is on a Predator unit like Rek'Sai, where it's buffing Rek'Sai's ult damage, and she's proccing it as true damage, mind you, on every unit that's casting, giving the chance to proc the... What am I trying to say? Giving the chance to proc the Predator synergy. So if they are below 35% health, Ionic Spark can kill them in the same way Thornmail can. So that's pretty cool. On a ranked, it's out. Time to prove how well you can adapt to the rise of the elements. Everyone's back to Iron. Can't lose LP for the first 5 games, and you can't lose LP for placing 4th or better. That's pretty good. I don't know about the full reset to Iron, but we'll see. It's unfortunate because everybody who's playing, you get such a variety in this first little bit, because the pros and the noobs are all at Iron right now. I don't know what the MMR is doing behind the scenes, but if you think about everybody resetting to Iron and people playing on the same day, you're going to have such a discrepancy, right? So bad players are going to have bad experiences because they're going to die super quickly to players who know what they're doing. Whereas the players who know what they're doing are going to just have crushed games up until they start evening out. Bug fixes. Cool. General improvements to melee unit pathing. Thank God. I'm sick of, like, Maokai duplicating and not figuring out how to move around. I'm sick of Singed running through and people just losing their fucking mind trying to chase down a Singed. Like, it just blows my mind how they can't recalibrate what's going on. It's like bronze solo queue, dude. It blows my mind. So this is a huge quality of life. I can't wait to see if this is actually what's going on. Spooky Invisible Woodland units no longer erroneously added to trait bonuses. This is fine. I exploited this a little bit, but it wasn't it wasn't so impactful. Happy to be out of the game. There's no real reason it should be. All PvE monsters are now properly considered 1 star. This is pretty much just for Vigar. This is just for Vigar. I think this is just for Vigar too. Vigar also, sorry, which is nice. Dragon, Elder Dragon, Rift Herald are now properly considered 3 star, again for Vigar. This is very good for him because, or this isn't, like, this is whatever to him, but the rest of these are very good. Ranged Berserkers, Rapid Fire Cannon, or Zerker's Axe now properly deal damage emanating code from the target instead of themselves. What? Is that what it did? I always had an idea to build something like this, but I didn't know it was that bad. Wow. This might be a fun, like, 6 Glacial Ezreal Zerker comp. What does that look like? See if we can craft one real quick. 6 Glacial Ezreal Zerker. It looks like Ezreal, Braum. We'll make Ezreal a Zerker. So Zerkspat, Ezreal, Braum, Olaf, Volibear, and we're at 4 Glacial. Right, that's 4 Glacial. Now we need the 6 Zerker, so that's 3 Zerker, 4 Zerker, Scion, Renekton. I think that's all the Berserkers, right? And then something like some Warden, right? So like no fight for 2 Warden. Shadow, Desert, Poison. We could also do like something like Twitch here too. Twitch with Glacial. Something like that. Pretty high cost, right? Braum, Volibear, Scion. Braum, Volibear, Renekton are the only like sub 2 cost. Huh. We'll mess with that a little bit. Fixed a few height bugs on Freylord communities. Items and champions should no longer get buried in the terrain. Alright, well that's good. I don't own these, so that should be fine. Electric Trait no longer benefits from ability power and no longer feeds in a Hextech Gunblade. I didn't think it did. I was suspect that it did. And I remember a couple games I actually called that shit out, but I guess it did do that, huh? Alright, bug fixes. Diana's orbs can no longer hit multiple targets each. Okay, so she is garbage now. Diana orbs only hitting 1 target means she's not an AoE champ anymore. Just kind of hits the first target in front of her. And she's just bad. Like, she just doesn't deal damage anymore. Unfortunate, because she used to be one of the best units in the game, I think. So, nerf to be one of the worst. Happens, Tails all this time. Kog'Maw ability adjusted to miss far less often. That's great. The couple Predator games I played, I said that before, where I was just getting pissed, just getting absolutely livid that Kog'Maw could not land a fucking ult to save his life. Just missing all the time, just by so far off all the time. I was disappointed in him. I was heartbroken. And just as a player, you know, go to try mode, go to the sandbox, practice until you can land those, and then come back to TFT and pretend to be a unit worth investing in. Would you? Because fucking yikes, dog. All right. Renekton's ability now properly deals magic damage. Okay. Was it doing physical damage before? Ah, that makes the Bloodthirster Bloodthirster makes way more sense on him then. Right? Bloodthirster on Renekton when he was dealing physical damage made way more sense why he was healing so much and like killing things. I guess it just did physical damage, so now it deals magical damage. Fixed healing text on Vlad to show the proper amount. Kind of whatever. Zyros plants attack speed and duration now match their intended amount. Good, because that was fucking... Both of these were random as shit. I had no idea what was going on when Zyros plants were just hanging out after a fight, and they would like shoot once and then like start to shoot again and just disappear. Like, was that not planned out? Do you not have that coded to like be a set thing? So I'm glad they fixed. I put my foot down a little bit. Put my foot down. I'm glad that got fixed. Melzahar minions attack speed now matches attack speed ratio. This is a slight reduction of Mel's minion attack speed, but oh man, this is like a triple nerf on Mel's. Mel's damage nerf, Mel's attack speed minion nerf, or no, Mel's shadow nerf, the health of the units is nerfed and the attack speed of the units is nerfed. His summons. That is rough. Volibear buff! This is exciting. Volibear's ability now restores him to full mana if a non-execute cast kills the target. This is what I was asking for earlier in the thing. Oh, that is so awesome. That is so awesome. I want to run... Okay, I'm going to make a note over here. Stack the heck out of a Volibear. Munch City. Something like Mage. 6 Mage. Rabadon's spell crit. That sounds absolutely hilarious. Which is what? 3 rods, brawler's gloves, and a spat, and that's 6 items on Volibear. Woo! I don't know if it'll be good, but it should be fun. All right, tier 3 units. Azir. No longer summons soldiers adjacent to untargetable units. Sweet. That's just kind of a quality of life buff. It is going to buff Azir's damage a little bit, which is kind of scary. That dude's freaking strong right now. And they didn't touch summoners at all. So that's pretty scary. Mundo won't cast his ability when there's nothing in range. Kiana won't cast her ability when there's nothing in range. Okay, both of these are pretty good. I don't think that happened to Mundo as much as Kiana. Kiana would sometimes kill things to get her last auto, and she would just shoot her ult at nothing. Whereas Mundo, his ult persists, so he might kill something or get shot by a ranged attack. And then as he's walking over, he'll cast it. So that I usually didn't mind too much because his animation is a bit of a cast. Whereas Kiana's just didn't do anything. So Viger tooltip clarified that it instantly kills lower star targets. Okay, that's fine. And Viger ability now executes non-champions if their star level is below his. Okay, so this is where it comes in with the all summons are now 0 star. So he should one shot like Annie Bear. Whoa, I wonder if that's the case. She probably counts as a summon, but Viger one-shotting Annie Bear actually makes Annie significantly worse. And I don't think Annie was that good of a unit anyway. She's just kind of a faux tank that isn't a tank anymore because she's just one shot. Like her bear is inevitably one shot by Vigar. That's a little crazy. All right, tier 4. Annie can no longer gain mana if she summons 2 Tibbers, then one of them dies. All right. Fixes Ash's 3-star scaling to be the intended 250%. Okay, so 3-star Ash buffed just by proxy. Fixed an issue where Ash cannot proc Blade Master while her ability was active. Again, kind of a buff, but super niche. Like Blade Master Ash. I don't know how many comps fit that. Because, like, what are you running if you're running Blade Master Ash? Like, I got nothing. Crystal, Lux. That's the only thing I can see. Fixed Olaf and Singed looking like they were glacialed, even though they were still attacking. Okay, I've seen the Singed one. I have seen the Olaf look glacial, but I'm pretty sure he wasn't attacking. I don't know about that, right? But that's really good. That's less frustrating. Champions can now properly take damage from multiple poison trails created by different copies of Singed. Okay. Zed's clones now properly attribute damage to Zed in the damage tracker. Oh, I didn't know they weren't doing that. Wow, so my Zed, when my Zed's like second in my damage, that was just my Zed, not the Zed clones. Wow. Okay. And then items. Dragon's Claw reduces magic damage received from non-ability effects, items, traits, etc. So this is like this makes Dragon Claw a little bit more effective. I thought it did this anyway, but knowing that it didn't now makes it better against electric, makes it better against Inferno, because like the Inferno bottom, stuff like that. I don't know what's going on here. Fixed Iceborne's Gauntlets, slow, occasionally persisting across rounds. I didn't know it was actually persisting. I thought it was just a visual error. If the... oh, man. If that debuff was persisting, that actually would play into like how benches are distributed. Like I would sub a unit out for a lower level unit or like a different unit if it had that buff on it. I didn't know that. Inferno Cinder works properly on Renekton, Jax, Rek'Sai, Vayne, and Nami. Oh, Nami's tidal wave empowered attacks. Really? So Infernal Nami gives your whole team Inferno. That's a little crazy. Spatula items now correctly no longer double the non-spatula component stats. Was that happening before? And then Talisman Light now corrects magic resist. I'm confused. So how are we supposed to make the 4th steel champion? What is... I don't know what this is. Where did this come in at all? That's completely random. Well, that's going to conclude my patch review. A lot of exciting stuff.